What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 3 and Out YouTube page. I'm John Middlekauff, and we are talking football all day, every day. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends. Let's roll, baby. Colin and I talked about it. We talked before the game. And the more and more I think about it, I bet anyone listening to this, especially if you work in a partner situation or work very, very closely with one individual as in a B2B relationship where that B2B is a majority of your business, where when you do not like the people you work with, it is difficult. I don't care if you're making a lot of money or, trying to create something, it can be a challenge. It is why it's way easier in any professional relationship. You don't have to love the guy. You don't have to go to dinner and hang out with his family, but there has to be a healthy amount of respect. And usually when you respect a guy, if the guy's pretty talented or whoever you're working with, you end up kind of liking him. Think how many people you gravitate toward and befriend after you leave college or your early 20s, whatever you're doing, through a work relationship. You meet a lot of friends that way. I know some of the people I'm closest with and text all the time are people I've met through football or radio. Hell, I mean, my podcast crew, James, Adam, we text all the time because you work hand in hand. You work closely. So Daniel, new to the operation, just on a group text, you just work together closely. And when you like the other people, it is much easier to operate. Sean Payton was never going to like Russell Wilson. And the moment he watched him play, he couldn't stand him. And I understood it. Because if I don't really respect you, kind of a weirdo, and then I don't think you're very good, and especially in that situation when you're making all this money and I go, you ain't worth this at all. I didn't pay you this. It was destined to fail. And I understand, like, former players, they all are biased toward this. So many of them freaked out. It's bullshit the way they handled the ball. He got paid $80 million to hit the door. Give me a break. I feel bad for the guy that gets fired, has 2 kids, and has no money coming in. I feel zero sympathy for a guy who's not any good anymore and couldn't cut it, can't hack it. And if you watch the Steelers the other day, and I was playing golf when the game was going on, and I got a bunch of DMs like, are you watching this? I get home and immediately watched it. Like, he's a washed player. It is what it is. Then you start working with someone you like, someone you respect, especially in a situation like Sean where I can mold them. It's going to work. I don't have the box score in front of me. I don't need it. If you watch Bo Nix these last 2 weeks play for the Denver Broncos, you go, yeah, that's what it's kind of supposed to look like. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he's going to be a future MVP. But he definitely has a lot to. I've been watching this stuff long enough to know, yeah, I like what I'm seeing. And then I looked at the offensive rookie of the year odds. Obviously, Caleb is the heavy favorite. He's plus 135 to win the offensive rookie of the year, which those odds are just crazy. Even if you love Caleb as a gambler, you couldn't bet him. Jaden Daniels is almost 5-1. Also pretty intriguing. Even though Dan Quinn, I saw yesterday, they did like a schemed run. What did Jaden do? What have we been talking about? A lot of talent there. Caleb got to win from within the pocket to become a star in the future. Jaden Daniels has to find a way to get down. Slide, hit the ground, do whatever. Jaden Daniels ran right through tackles. And Dan Quinn's on the sideline like, get down, get down. Both of those guys, uber talented. I'm watching Bo Nix and I go, I see a lot of talent. I see an offensive coordinator who's the head coach, who's all in. They got some wide receivers. I got an offensive coordinator who schemed a lot of the best offenses in the history of the league. He's 14-1. 14-1 to win the offensive rookie of the year. From a value standpoint, I don't even think it's debatable. Like, if you're going to bet him, you got to drizzle money on that guy. It's a halftime now when I'm recording this. The moment he played his first preseason game, he was going to be the week 1 starter. After this, and I understand, this isn't about like, he's playing backups. Just watch the guy play. The movements, the accuracy, the ability to get rid of the ball. Same with Caleb. Same with Jaden. It's not about who you're playing. It's the attributes. Then it's on the coaches. Sean Payton's making $18 million a year. All the Bears coaches making a lot. Quarterback coach making 900 G's. Offensive coordinator probably making 2.5. Obviously, Dan Quinn's making 10 million. Cliff's probably making 3 or 4. You got to coach these guys up. So it's on the coaches who get paid premiums to figure it out. But the talent on those 3 individuals, eye-popping. And if you would have told me that when the preseason started, I would have thought, obviously, Caleb has the best physical characteristics in terms of arm and throwing on the run. Jaden, athleticism, I would put Bo Nix right there too, movement-wise, arm strength. Like, I would have assumed Bo Nix' arm looked a lot on a different level than those 2 guys, and I don't see a huge gap. When you say, does Bo Nix have a good arm? My first reaction is, yes, he does. So if I'm a Denver Bronco fan, we got rid of the anchor that is Russell Wilson. And I would say the drama that comes behind that, because let's face it, there's a lot. And as I told Colin, I think what's going to be the undoing of the Steelers is the drama in that quarterback room, because those guys are so famous. There was like this famous aura with Russell Wilson that you just couldn't shake. And for most of his career, it was always someone else's fault. Every offensive coordinator Russell Wilson has ever had before Sean Payton got fired. Every single one. All of them Seattle. All of them fired. Nathaniel Hackett, year 1, fired. You can bring up names here. This guy's not good enough. Whatever. In my life watching football, Hall of Fame, in their prime, sweet quarterbacks, you know what happens to their assistant coaches? They become head coaches. Look at Rodgers. Look at Big Ben. Obviously, Tom, Peyton Manning. Like, their guys move up the ladder. Russell's went the other way. They always got the finger pointed at them. It was their fault. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe Sean Payton was right. And listen, everyone that talked a bunch of shit last year when Sean Payton went to him like, hey, you want to stick around here? Change your guarantees. 90% of the media freaked out. I was like, what? What are we talking about? He's asking, do you want to change it or not? If not, we're going to bench you and move on. We're not afraid to cut you because our owner's worth $50 billion. We don't give a shit. Here are your options. Welcome to real life. At one point in time in all of our lives, we're presented with a couple options professionally. Pick one or the other. And listen, you live with it. And he said, no. Okay, see ya. Don't let the door hit you. It feels like they are going to have such a more symbiotic and like more normal relationship. Because one thing New Orleans always had, now Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, but he was like one of the most normal, high character guys in the league. Everyone loved him, got along with everyone. I forget the offensive lineman. He did play-by-play. I think he was a center for the Saints for a little bit. God, I forget his name. And he retired like 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago now. And he started crying in his retirement speech, talking about Drew Brees. So Sean Payton went from that to Russell. And I defended Russell, like the own office and all that. Didn't bother me. It's people, you can't get along. Teammates don't think you're normal. Part of being a quarterback is being able to be relatable. Even though, Patrick Mahomes, he's making $90 million a year on and off the field. Yet it always feels like all of his teammates like him. I saw on YouTube, Tom Brady, I think, started a YouTube page. And it's, Tom, I don't know if he's being truly authentic. It's not about the content. It was just cool, like flying private jets on these sweet yachts in who knows where. It's just like kind of an insight to Tom's life. It's like, God, this guy's living good in the back of like sweet limos that are Rolls Royces. Like this guy's living like he's like one of the kings or princes somewhere. It was cool insight. He has been so rich now for so long, yet everybody till his last day in Tampa was like, couldn't be any cooler. Couldn't be any more normal. That's why I defend Caleb Williams in terms of the way his teammates talk about him. Didn't like the painted nail saying, fuck you, Utah. Like that's slappy behavior. But usually with that, you're like, do the teammates think he's kind of a weirdo? It's like you watch the Hard Knocks. Seems like everyone likes him. If everyone likes you, give yourself a shot. Brock Purdy, pretty polarizing player. You know who loves him? I'll tell you. Fred Warner, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. Kind of matters. You know why Trey Lance got Wally pipped in the blink of an eye? Teammates didn't believe in him. And they liked the guy. So when they don't like you and then they don't believe in you, I think Pittsburgh's got a major problem on their hands. And I think Denver is just kind of got out of a bad breakup, dating someone new. And it's like, God, life's pretty easy. I don't have to force things. Just like conversation goes, go out to dinner, you're not screaming at each other. It's like, God, this is smooth. This is easy. We've all experienced that in one relationship to another relationship. Like, this is way easier than that used to be. It's like, yeah, because that was a toxic relationship. That's not healthy. That's not normal. That's not conducive to success. And Bo Nix, Sean Payton's going to work. Got news for you. Yeah, I don't even know who's debating that. And I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs this year, though. Not the craziest thing. Because you go around the league, you got there's some weird quarterback situations. Rodgers is 40. What if he can't really move this year? Deshaun Watson makes like $800 million. What if he kind of sucks? Joe Burrow, what if he can't stay healthy? You know where I stood on the Chargers bet, which I did love 3 weeks ago. Don't love it as much anymore. You know why? Their entire team always gets injured. And they're pretty dependent on a couple guys on defense that are always hurt. Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, who's literally hurt right now. And their quarterback's just been in a boot. So part of good vibes, it's an overused term on the internet, just vibes. Positive vibes do matter. That doesn't mean you don't have to work hard. That doesn't mean there are certain things, no matter what you're doing, that boxes you don't have to check. But being optimistic and being excited is pretty healthy. Look at the Chiefs. You know what they've had a lot of? Just good vibes. Winning brings that for sure. It's hard to have good vibes when you're losing. You don't meet many broke people that are smiling all the time. I get it. I'm not acting like they can go 6-10 or 6-11. They're going to be a bunch of good vibes. But you remove Russell Wilson, that was just a giant pain in their ass. Not debatable. To Bo Nix, who's just this young, hungry guy who's pretty talented. And if all things were equal, same amount of money, I could have this guy for $1 million or this guy for $1 million. In 2024, is there one general manager that today, including the Steelers, that would take Russell Wilson over Bo Nix? Haven't even seen the guy play a real NFL game. Got news for you. There isn't. The Steelers would trade Russell Wilson for Bo Nix yesterday. So sometimes things just work out.